What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Hero or Zero here on the Heroes for Hire podcast. My name is Shaun Meehan, and joining me, as always, is spider researcher Conor Lawler.
My mother. She was in the Amazon rainforest researching spiders, and then she died. Better
delivery than it was given in the film, let's be honest.
I think Dakota Johnson's deliveries are always... It's like the question mark at the end of every sentence that really gets you out. My mother died?
Well, she was in the Amazon?
This is 0-0, Shaun. What do we do here?
This show where we take one comic book character every single week, talk about their good points and their bad points, generally give you a bit of run of everything to do with that character, but the clincher is that you normally take DC characters, whereas I talk about Marvel characters.
Exactly. Now, and I apologise to Dakota coming in. We came in hard at her from the very early on.
That's fair. But look, killing it on the press tour, I must say.
She seems like a nice human being.
Yeah,
I don't want to...
She's remarkably well adjusted, it seems.
I'm now getting tips, by the way, of who you're going to be doing, just through that one intro.
Oh, really? Did I give it away?
I think you might have given it away, but last week I covered Static Shock, so if you haven't listened to that and you enjoyed that early 2000s animated show, maybe you want to learn a bit more about the characters in comic book form, then just go back and listen to that episode. I think it was a decent enough report. I don't think I left anything out. Sent in one of our patrons sent it in as an idea. We also have we also are on Spotify, iTunes, all the podcast platforms. If you could give us a like or follow, any of them, it would really, really help us out. Maybe 5 stars.
Five stars comment. If you're feeling frisky, 5 stars. Why not?
Well, wait until he gives the report, maybe, for the 5. At the end, we'll all collectively give him a review.
I'm gonna... Whoa, I don't like that shit at all. Hang on.
We'll circle back.
So, okay, oh no, please, Conor, it's Friday. I want to forget about work.
Okay, so because it's Friday and it's a big week, because obviously Madame Web came out in cinemas, Shaun, who are we doing in Hero or Zero this week?
Conor, I am covering well, you might have guessed it. Well, kind of. I'm covering Spider-Woman. Okay? That sentence is... There's a lot of baggage with that, because there's been about 40 of them.
I was just about to say there's at least 5.
Yeah, so I am covering Julia Carpenter. Now, Julia Carpenter in the Madame Web movie is Madame Web. She becomes Madame Web, but she's Spider-Woman first in the comics. We're doing most of her Spider-Woman stuff.
Oh, wait, hang on. Okay, let's start again. Okay,
Sydney Sweeney's character in Madame Web...
Yes.
Is Spider-Woman. But in the comics, Spider-Woman and Julia Carpenter and Madame Web are the same person.
Oh, they just split it up for the movie.
Yeah.
So who's Dakota Johnson's character?
Dakota Johnson's is like that. This is why it's weird. That's what Julia Carpenter looks like as Madame Web. But Julia Carpenter looked like Sydney Sweeney as Spider-Woman.
Did they just... So they just, split Julia Carpenter in half and made her both characters in the movie?
Yes. Because Madame Web historically was a very old woman in a chair.
Yeah, that's so weird, because it's like... the Spider-Verse has so many characters.
Yeah, that they could just pick from.
You don't need to split them, Sony. Just do a different one.
Just do a different one, please. Don't take this one from us. But she was created in June of 1984, first appearing in Secret Wars number 6, created by Jim Shooter and Mike Zeck. So she was introduced as Spider-Woman first, and then the backstory was kind of added in later. So her backstory, she was born as Julia Cornwall and was raised in Los Angeles, California, Conor, the daughter of Walter and Elizabeth Cornwall. She married her college sweetheart, Larry Carpenter, and together they had a daughter named Rachel. Unfortunately, shortly after he got a job in public relations, he began to cheat on Julia. After 5 years of marriage, they divorced, and Julia was awarded custody of their daughter. So, it's kind of cool. I like Julia Carpenter because she had a whole life and then got super. Like, she has a family already.
Do you know what? That's actually a trope that you don't see a lot. Well, you see a little bit of it, but it
More
is
so
quite
recently,
interesting
I
when
think.
you have a character who's completely well adjusted, has their life, has their hobbies, has their job, and then gets superpowers, and then what do they do with it? A lot of the time it's thrust upon them through, I don't know, a beaker being hit by lightning, or being bitten by something radioactive, or maybe, I don't know, your parents being shot brutally in an alleyway.
Pearls falling.
Pearls falling. Maybe landing on Earth from a spaceship. That kind of vibe.
Yeah, whereas it's rare to get, like, here's a full adult who matured and had a life, and then this happens. Actually, in the new Ultimate universe in Marvel Comics, that's what Spider-Man is. He's 35 with a family, and then he gets spider powers. Which
I think is, like, kind of cool to do that. Now, I don't know. I think there's probably a survey that goes around, and they're like, oh, the kids don't really like the 37-year-old Spider-Man. It's a bit fucking weird. But maybe it's because we're a bit older now. We're old men, Sean. That we're kind of like, well,
this is definitely, like, anyone who was reading the Ultimate comics when they first came out is now in their 30s.
so it's just like, and the people who are writing it were also like young, and so now they're like, yeah, let's bring back old fucking sore back Spider-Man. Why not?
So there was, at the same time as Julia gained custody of her daughter, a secret government group called the Commission decided to create their own superhero. So Julia just bumped into a college friend of hers named Val Cooper, and Val was working for the Commission but didn't reveal this. Val convinced her to be part of an athletic study. She was unknowingly a test subject in their experiments. During the experiments, they started giving her daily injections of a serum, telling Julia that these shots were a means of studying her body's reaction to certain types of exercise. The serum dosage increases every day, until Val, who was threatened with being fired if there was no results of the study, doubles the dosage to near fatal levels. Julia passes out, and when she comes to hours later, the team claims that they had accidentally injected her with spider venom. Furious, Julia punches and destroys a wall, discovering she now had super strength. A quick series of tests proved she could also cling to walls and psychically generate adhesive energy webs. So, this is the gimmick with Spider-Woman, is that she doesn't... There's no web fluid, there's no organic webs, there's none of that. She'll never run out. They're psychically done. So she creates tangible psychic energy in the form of webs.
Okay, well, my follow-up question is, I'm assuming what everyone else is thinking, where does it come out of?
From her hands. Like, she can make it from anywhere, is the thing. It's easiest from her hands, because that's the most natural to grab. And they are a solid thing elbows. She can grab.
Just straight up, 2 elbows all times.
That's the weirdest move you could have made, to be honest.
Well, imagine you're lying on the beach, chillaxing, arms behind your head, chilling out, enjoying the sun, and then all of a sudden you've got some baddies, some fucking thieves on the side. You haven't even moved.
I'm trying to think of any scenario where it's useful for it to come out of your elbows.
It's like there's there's people being murdered up and down the beach, but unless they're right beside me, then I cannot stop them.
And you can't, like, squeeze them together and get them to point in the same direction.
No, that'd be ridiculous, Sean. Don't be fucking ridiculous. Come on now.
Pretending that Julia's powers are a lucky accident, the Commission gives her a spider-themed costume and a new job as a government super operative. Julia wants to call herself Arachne, after a mythical weaver who has transformed into a spider, or Ariadne, the woman who gave Theseus the thread to lead him out of the labyrinth. But the Commission insists on giving her a more media-friendly name, Spider-Woman.
That is so funny, because I was like, oh, they went for the media-friendly thing, and then I was like, oh, I think I would get sad if comic books did that.
Yeah.
But now you've just said it. So when did she start coming, like, into comic books?
1984, she appeared in the Secret Wars crossover, which was a vessel to sell toys, to be fair.
Okay, so they're trying to get the Spider-Woman gimmick off the ground. It's basically what Bob Iger and Zaslav do now, in that we've got a name brand.
Yeah.
So let's just do
this
milk
number
it for
7.
All
it's worth.
Yeah, let's milk it forever. Like, just put Pirates of the Caribbean, or just put fucking Shrek or anything before it, and then we can do 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. And then, like, she was introduced in Secret Wars. Then once that storyline was revolved, she was just basically put out into the Marvel Universe as another character.
Okay.
So her main enemies were the Arachnid-based team called Deathweb, which consisted of 3 other people who were transformed by the Commission using the same serum that transformed her. But they weren't as successful, so they were more spider-like and fucked up looking, if you get
And
me.
where is she based? Sorry.
So she's based in Los Angeles originally, goes to
Right.
New York for a bit. She does end up, I think, in West Coast Avengers for quite a while.
Okay, I was just about to say, because like they obviously have to do a different rogues gallery for
Yeah.
Spider-Woman. So you have a situation where she's across if she's across the country, then obviously they can't fight the same people. But if she's in New York, then the easy selection is just to pick a different Spider-Man rogue and put her up against them.
Exactly. And like her main interaction at first was that her daughter Rachel was kidnapped by Deathweb, and they were like, we will kill your daughter if you don't kill Spider-Man. So it's the perfect way to be like, oh, let's just have the 2 spider people fight each other.
Yeah. And you got that comic book cover where she's like got Spider-Man beaten up on the ground. She's like, I've got to kill you now. And you're like, oh shit.
Dude, she beats him. She nearly kills him, and just realises, oh, I don't want to be a murderer. So she's like, look, here's what's happening, and then Spider-Man helps her rescue her daughter.
I wasn't saying fuck as in like, oh fuck, isn't that crazy? But like Spider-Man, as we know, is like godlike.
Oh yeah,
he is. His powers are broken.
Yeah, and if he stops holding back, he could kill everyone.
So are we saying her powers also broken? Are their powers the exact same, other than she has the mind webs instead of the maid webs?
Really, really, really similar. I think even while fighting her, I think Peter was holding back, to be fair.
I think he always holds back at all times, but like we're not like, oh yeah, Spider-Man would otherwise.
No, yeah, like Spider-Man can and should be beat most of the time.
Repeatedly, kill that child, beat him up. I don't like him.
I want him to. No, I love Spider-Man, to be fair. So she then found her place after rescuing Rachel, making sure she was safe, went off to the West Coast Avengers, had a few adventures with them, but eventually walked away from the superhero business entirely to continue raising her daughter. She, at one point, had her powers stolen by a character called Charlotte Witter, who is she's also called Spider-Woman, but she's evil. But she had her powers stolen.
Is that based off the book Charlotte's Web?
Very well could be. Actually, that didn't click with me until now. And after the loss of her superpowers, she returned to the life of a normal mother. During the loss of her superpowers, when they were stolen, she was actually paralysed. She was paralysed from the waist down. However, now all of her other injuries healed, but that didn't. But then there's a character called the Shroud, who is... He's a dude with a cloak that channels darkness. Don't worry about it.
Right, that's a classic comic book. Look, dude, he's got shadows, right? Don't ask any further questions, right?
Exactly.
Just leave it there.
So he synthesised a duplicate. So this is where a new writer comes in. He synthesised a duplicate of the serum that provided Julia with her powers. They returned after several days.
What a coinky that random stranger could have done that.
Exactly. But what I also like is she undergoes physical therapy to learn how to walk again. So she doesn't just get her ability to walk back straight away, because her body had her muscles had atrophied and stuff like that. So she actually goes through physical therapy. Shroud recuperates her.
He's like a physical therapist.
He's got it all. He channels darkness. He makes serums. He's a physical therapist.
He's like a weird potion master, and then through the curtain he's got like one of those beds that he massages a calf if it's a bit tight on.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Run the marathon this summer, are you? Oh fuck, you want to get ready for it?
You're doing that in the weekend, are you?
Magic hands, they call me.
So it was during this time she and the Shroud fell in love.
Of course.
She goes on with a relationship with Shroud for a few years. Her powers now restored, Julia began using the codename Arachne, her original choice of a superhero name. During the Superhuman Civil War, she registered under the Superhuman Registration Act, and she and Wonder Man aided Miss Marvel in the training of novice superheroes. However, Julia was actually a double agent. When she first responded to Iron Man's request, she thought that they would be helping people escape registration. She tipped off several targeted superheroes who had refused to register with the government, and she was also involved with Shroud romantically, who was an opponent of the Superhuman Registration Act. She was found out when Prowler, who she had been helping, gave up under interrogation that Julia was a double agent. A government strike team led by Miss Marvel and Wonder Man attacked Julia at her home just as she was about to flee the country with her daughter. Julia was captured and subsequently incarcerated.
Fuck. Okay.
So she mistakes the invite from Tony Stark, but then is like, this is a great opportunity to fucking let other superheroes just live their lives.
Yeah, but you know what is kind of like a very, I was going to say like heroic kind of idea, but it's a character that we enjoy, is that like even surrounded by all those people, she's still going to stand up for her ideals as well, to be like, look, I'm just going to be the undercover agent, I'm just going to help other people. That's
it. And she's always been very like singular minded, like she wants to look after her daughter and that's her main priority basically.
And she doesn't want any hassle.
Exactly, she just wants to be left alone for the most part.
But you know what? I can understand why the character is well liked as well, because like that's a character that is like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like Wolverine has the same thing. Leave him alone. Let him do whatever he wants.
Exactly. And so she was then. So Kraven the Hunter has been dead in comics for ages at the point that this next bit takes place. So Julia was dragged into Sasha Kravenov's Grim Hunt. So this was a means to resurrect her husband Kraven through the sacrifice of various spider people. So Julia was captured by the Kravenoff family. However, Spider-Man Peter Parker put a stop to the scheme. The Kravenoff's most important prisoner, Madam Web, who controls the web of life and destiny, as we all know.
I'm debating whether to be a dick.
Go ahead.
And ask you, Shaw, just a quick follow-up. What is the web of life and destiny and all what you're talking about?
Well, it's the intrinsic links between all spider people, that there are certain people that are destined to become spider totems, if you will, representing various members of the spider family throughout the years and throughout the centuries, Connor.
It's just bollocks, right? They just made up a whole thing that all the spider people are connected by destiny.
They decided to make Peter Parker magic for no reason.
As in, like, I think they just somewhat like the idea of a big web, like the visualization of a big web connecting all of the spider people, and they were like, oh, it's the web of life and destiny. And then whoever came up with the word totems, hate that word in regards to characters.
Awful. Terrible. Basically means interchangeable, if you think about it.
In a fancier way, it's just a Spider-Verse.
Yes.
But it's like that now it's kind of been changed to Spider-Verse, because obviously it was, because much easier to understand than it's the web of life and destiny. God, like,
and there's different, like, there's like, because there's all these kinds of, like, there's the Spider Bride and the Spider Hunter, and there's all these fucking things, and it's the worst thing in the world. So Madam Web was mortally wounded in the escape. In her final moments, Madam Web transferred her telepathic, precognitive and astral projection powers into Julia, blinding her in the process, but making her the new Madam Web.
Which the follow-up question is, did she ask for that, or did this old woman just make her blind?
It was kind of a, someone has to be it and you're the closest one to me kind of deal.
Someone needs to be that totem of Madame Web.
The Weaver, Connor. Correct.
I knew there was a dumb name.
Yeah.
The Weaver. So somebody's got to be the Weaver totem. Wow, you're nearby. Here,
That's
you
it.
have it.
There must always be a Weaver. You know, that kind of way.
Okay, fair enough.
So Julia's first action in this role as the Weaver was to prevent Peter from killing Kraven, explaining to Peter that he was the centre of a moral web that would be destroyed if he killed Kraven, and advising him that this murder, however justified, would turn him into a ruthless destroyer.
Yeah, a destroyer totem, if you will.
No. We're not adding new totems, Connor, please.
There's already enough shit ones.
So after burying Kane Parker, who is the clone of Peter Parker, who
we're not going to get into that. We've already done a report on Kane Parker.
Have done a report on Kane.
And Ben.
Most of the clones, actually.
I think we've covered all the clones at some stage, yeah.
So after burying Kane and Madam Web in a potter's field, she explained her new purpose to Spider-Man before teleporting away. She can teleport now as well. Does she get to keep all of her old powers as well? Depends. Sometimes...
Okay, depends who's writing her. Okay.
Yeah, but also it's the kind of thing of like, if you're that telepathically powerful, do you ever need to really fight?
True, okay, yeah, cool.
So afterwards, Julia gave her Arachne costume to a character that was introduced called Anya Corazon, who is she's now Spider-Girl, is what she is. She's like a teenage lady Spider-Man.
Okay.
So, when the population of Manhattan developed spider powers in an event called Spider Island, Julia observed the crisis with Shang-Chi, preventing him from intervening until Spider-Man was accidentally attacked by the Avengers when he tried to help out.
Marvel needs to have a fucking look at itself. What is the deal with having all of the spider powers being transported to what's the obsession? Just have 4 or 5 of them. It's fine.
It was just like, it was post like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and stuff like that, and like things were just massive. Amazing Spider-Man was happening and stuff, and people just fucking loved Spider-Man, so they were like, let's make him everything in Marvel.
It's just, but like, no stories are ever good that start off with, well, the whole island got superpowers. Now, what do we do?
So later, Anti-Venom, who came up in the Venom report, was working on curing the individuals affected of their spider powers. Madam Web, Julia, reflected on the need for both Venom and Anti-Venom to fix the Spider Island problem. At the final battle of the Spider Island event, where the Spider Queen was who is a big fucking spider demon god thing.
There's a spider demon.
It doesn't matter.
We don't need to get into it, but there's a spider totem demon or fucking wife or bride or I don't know fucking what it is.
Exactly. But in the process of this, Kane Parker had been resurrected.
So fantastic.
Just as she realised that Venom and Anti-Venom were needed, they realised they needed Peter Parker and Kane Parker. For the simple fact, Kane Parker is willing to kill and allows him to kill the Spider Queen.
So they resurrected a guy just to make him a murderer.
Pretty much.
Cool, that's pretty good writing, I'll tell you that now.
In terms of powers and abilities, Connor.
Oh, I thought this would never end. Wow.
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. It's just, I feel like these spider characters, we've done it with Kane, we've done it with Ben, just, they start off strong. They start off clean. And then there's like a midpoint, and I'm going to pick a year, maybe, 2003, where it goes off the rails 100%. At all times.
Absolutely.
And you are trying to dig your way up out of whatever dumb storylines they get involved in, and they just get like forced into these totem areas. Just allow her to be a character who has spider powers in the West, and then Spider-Man's in the East and she's in the West, and we call it a day. And
that's how you make an easy to understand comic. But it's like, literally, like during the research for this, and I was thinking this same thing, you get about 60% in to any Spider Person report, and then it just becomes a serious amount of buy-in before you can enjoy the rest of the story. Like,
so they kill someone and then they resurrected somebody else because they needed to kill somebody else because of the totem, the bride totem needed to die for the web. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, that person could have been dead for 2 or 3 years. They're revived over the course of like 3 pages. Like...
and I feel like it stains all the characters because I think all the characters are quite good. And just like allow them to just be themselves in a fun storyline where they fight crime.
Yeah, but just have Ben Reilly be Spider-Man in Las Vegas. Like, that's all he needs to be.
Spider-Man everywhere. Like, they tried that with the whole Batman Inc. thing that they tried for a while. There was a Batman in different places. I thought that was quite fun. You just have Batman organising different Batmans around the place. Yeah. Have different Spider-Men around the place. Just And it's weird that there's 4 or 5 of them, but look, that's the way it is.
And they all talk on the web, and there's your web connection that you want so badly, Marvel.
Yeah, talk through their fucking brains. Do that weird brain thing they can do.
Yeah, they can do a weird brain thing, that's fine.
Yeah, who cares?
She has, look, the usual stuff. Superhuman strength. She can lift at least 10 tons. Superhuman speed, superhuman stamina, agility, reflexes, durability, regeneration. She can recover from mild to moderate injuries faster than an ordinary human. She's physically immune to all known types of poisons. And she has superhuman tactile sense. So her sense of touch is so developed to the point that she can sense a vibration like a spider on its webs. She can detect a hollow area under a solid steel floor just by walking over it. She also has...
That's a very specific power to have. That's pretty cool.
It definitely came up in one story, and that's why they had to mention it there.
Yeah.
She also has some psionic powers. So her wall crawling, similar to Spider-Man. And again, look, Spider-Man used to just be able to climb shit, right? Yes. But actually, he's manipulating, and she is as well, the interatomic binding forces of matter to create temporary but powerful molecular bonds between her body and whatever she touches.
Do you know what? My favourite version of ever explanation for any spider sticking to wall thing is Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. When he has that one close-up of his hand and the little claws coming out of his fingers. And when I was like 10, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Claws in his fingers.
That's my frame of reference for that now.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, cool. You don't need to start doing some weird shit that he's moving gravity or whatever. Just be like, yeah, he's sticking. Cool.
The only cool thing that they've ever done with that is Kane Parker does the Mark of Cain, which is where he puts his hand on your face, makes it stick, and then pulls it away. All of your skin comes off with it.
If you haven't heard the Kane report, he's a psychopath.
He's a lunatic. I love him so much. Psionic webbing, then. So, Julia can utilise psionic-based webbing. By using psychokinetic energy, she can bind ambient, free-floating molecules into strands of solid force. Her webs can be used to wrap enemies or focused into narrow web lines that she can swing from. Due to its psychic nature, her webs can be used in ways that Spider-Man's webbing never could, such as causing webs to form from a distance or controlling the movement of her webbing mentally. She can create webs able to hold up to 10 tons when properly anchored.
Holy shit. Okay.
So, it's essentially Spider-Man's webs, but they can just do a little bit more with them.
Well, if you can set them off anywhere, I mean, you're basically indestructible, because Spider-Man's thing is if you, beat him up, then he can't use them.
Yeah.
Or she could
if he runs out of web fluid halfway through a fight.
She could make them just appear behind every villain and just wrap them up before the fight even starts.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. She can just, infiltrate, stealth, web everyone, and then it's over.
She could be at home and just web everyone outside.
Just on a video camera or something.
What can you do? Nobody could stop her.
So she also can, by casting small strands of psionic webbing into her environment, she can feel psychic vibrations reverberating through them, just like a spider can feel vibrations through their webs. So she can sense the presence of other people in her vicinity, pinpointing potential attackers over a distance. So she doesn't really have spider sense. It's a conscious thing that she'll send out psychic waves, I guess, to see what's going on. But Peter Parker's spider sense, if he's knocked out, the spider sense will get him home. That's where he would be.
When he's pissed drunk, it'll get him back to sleep.
Yeah, there is a story where he's done that. I can't find it, but he's definitely done that. Yeah,
100%. No, so really the question then becomes, if to me, I think she's more interesting as Spider-Woman than 100%. She is as Madame Web.
Yeah.
So, would you do a movie on Spider-Woman or Madame Web if you were Sony and you owned both of them?
Genuinely, I don't know how they cast Sydney Sweeney as Spider-Woman and didn't give her own movie. That, because also, her origin, completely independent of Peter Parker.
Makes way more sense.
She's the one you do.
It's so simple.
Whereas the Madam Web, do Madam Web later by all means.
Yeah.
But why not start with Spider-Woman? And then, even look, for all the shit villain movies they have, the Sonyverse is just Spider-Woman's the main one.
And look, if you want to even break it down to a molecular level, Spider-Woman as a title is just so much easier to sell.
In terms of marketing? Oh my God.
Like, you just say Spider-Woman. It's fine.
Literally.
It's grand.
It came up in this character's origin that Spider-Woman is a more marketable name.
And that was in 1984 in fictional comics.
Yeah.
But now, Sony, you are, I mean, I don't want to be rude, but you are doing shit.
You're doing
so
terrible.
bad.
The only thing you have is the Spider-Verse.
Is the word spider and a hyphen.
Yeah.
And you can follow that with woman and we can all make some money. But no, we have to do Madame Web.
Yeah, somehow that's the way that we deal with this. Like,
It doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't make any sense at all. But I just, like, it would be so much cooler if they just made a Spider-Woman movie. I like Julia Carpenter as, like, you know, classic black suit Spider-Woman kind of stuff. That is what makes the most sense to me. The Madam Web stuff, it gets into all the spider totemy bullshit, which Madam Web seems to be all about, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I think maybe that's an us thing. There probably are people who read that stuff and they very much enjoy the spider totems thing. I know me and you were not big fans of it. I think it gets in the way. Once you start getting like higher purpose kind of vibes, I think it takes away from the heroes that like, or the fictional characters are more interesting when there's no greater purpose.
Yeah.
They're just being sound because they're cool.
It's just,
and they're
it's
trying
great
their
power,
best.
great responsibility. Like, that's
Basically,
what
yeah.
it is.
But I'm going to finish on a line from the TV show Angel that he says, Sean, and you know what, if it goes into every single fucking piece of medium that we talk about here on superheroes, but like the whole plot is that like he's fighting because he's like, oh, I'm going to like go to heaven, I'm going to have like a better thing.
Yeah.
And then the bad guy's like, oh, it actually means not, like we're going to win, and he just gives up on life once he figures that out. And then the way he gets back is he just says, well, if nothing we do matters, then all that matters is what we do. And there's that line that is just like, there's no greater purpose.
Yeah.
Just be fucking sound when you're here. And that's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
as a hero, you're not doing it for any reward. You're just doing it because, well, that person needs to be saved. They're being mugged. I'm going to go save them.
Well, couldn't we all learn from that, folks?
And it's a random episode of Angel, season 2, episode 16, Epiphany, if you want to watch
random, it seems.
Pretty good. but I have a weird thing of, I know episodes and numbers, don't ask me, that's from a lot of shows.
Good.
But yeah, I just feel like when they get too into it, of like totems and ideas and higher purposes, I think it's super dumb.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
It just makes it less accessible for people, I think. Like, it's harder to get into if you have to delve through all these layers of, you know, comic book bullshit.
But I think, Sean, that was a great report for
Thanks,
a character that, from a movie that I'm assuming is going to win an Oscar. Best movie of all time.
Well, look, I'll be watching it online with poker ads sprinkled in throughout, so...
Debating whether to give them my money. I might wait.
I don't think we should, is the thing.
We didn't buy Morbius. I remember specifically the people were asking us to review Morbius, and we were like, I will not give Jared any money.
No, we waited till that was on streaming, so basically free.
So yeah, it's basically free. So look, if you want to check out any of the other episodes that we've done, we've got hundreds of these episodes, including all the Spider-Man characters, if that's what you're into. We've also done lots on DC characters. Obviously, we have a Patreon, which is the link down below. It's basically lots of extra movie reviews and TV show reviews and lots of extra content. And what else could they do? They could give us a like, follow, 5 stars, so that the podcast platforms, and most importantly, just tell one human being that we exist.
Just the one, please.
So I have been Conor Lorraine.
I have been Shaun Neal.
And we shall see you all next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.